Cocoa, which is botanically known as Theobroma cacao, is an introduction to India in the early 1965s. It is native of Amazon Valley of South America. In India, it is cultivated mainly as a mixed crop in coconut and arecanut gardens. Kerala accounts for 79% of the total area and 71% of the total production, and Karnataka shares 18% of the total area and 25% of the production, and the rest by Tamil Nadu. It belongs to the family Sterculiaceae. Cocoa is best known as the raw material for chocolates. Cocoa seed, also known as cocoa beans, are the source of commercial cocoa. Fermented seeds are roasted, cracked and ground to give a powdery mass from which fat is expressed. The three intermediate cocoa products are cocoa liquor, cocoa butter and cocoa powder. Cocoa butter is used in the manufacture of chocolate. It is also widely used in cosmetic products such as moisturizing creams and soaps. Cocoa powder can be used as an ingredient in chocolate flavored drinks, chocolate flavored desserts such as ice creams, chocolate spreads, sauces and cakes and biscuits. Cocoa liquor is used with the other ingredients to produce chocolate. Cocoa chocolate is used as a product on its own or combined with other ingredients to form confectionery products. The flowers are produced in clusters directly on the trunk and old branches. This is known as cauliflowery. The flowers are small, 1 to 2 centimeter diameter with pink calyx. Cocoa flowers are pollinated by tiny flies, Forciformia midges, and also belonging to the family of Forcimiaceae. The fruit, which is called as a cocoa pod, is ovoid, 15 to 30 centimeter long, 8 to 10 centimeter wide, ripening yellow to orange in color and weighs about 500 gram when ripe. The pod contains 20 to 60 seeds, usually called the beans, embedded in a white pulp. The seeds are the main ingredient of the chocolate, while the pulp is used in some countries to prepare refreshing juice, smoothies and jelly. Their most noted active constituents is theobromine, a compound similar to caffeine. Now we will see the climate and soil requirement of cocoa. Cocoa is a crop of humid tropics requiring well distributed rainfall. A minimum of 90 to 100 millimeter rainfall per month with an annual precipitation of 1500 to 2000 millimeter is ideal. However, it can also be grown in other regions by supplementing rainfall with irrigation during dry periods. However, for successful cultivation, the dry months should not exceed 3 to 4 months. This limits the distribution of cocoa to within 20-degree latitude on either side of the equator. Cocoa tolerates a minimum temperature of 15 degrees C and a maximum of 40 degrees C. The temperature around 25 degrees C and relative humidity around 80% are optimal conditions. It can be grown in place from sea level up to an elevation of 1200 meter above mean sea level. Cocoa grows on a wide range of soil, but loose soils which allow root penetration and movement of air and moisture are ideal. It should retain moisture in the soil during dry season, as cocoa requires regular supply of moisture for proper growth. Though cocoa can be grown in soil with the pH range 4.5 to 8, it dries better in neutral soils. Let us now see the varieties available in cocoa. Commercial cocoa has two major varieties or group, namely Criollo and Forastero. Criollo has dark red parts with rough surface, prominent ridges, pronounced point and thin wall. Cotyledon are plumpy and white when fresh and turn cinnamon color on fermentation. It takes 3 days for fermentation and the aroma is bland. It has poor adaptability and poor yield potential, hence discouraged for commercial cultivation. Second group of variety is the Forastero. It has dark yellow pods with smooth surface, minor ridges, rounded end like melon and thick wall. Cotyledon are flat and purple when fresh and turn dark chocolate brown color on fermentation. It takes 6 days for fermentation and the aroma is harsh and bitter in taste. It has good adaptability and a good yield potential, hence encouraged for commercial cultivation. Other types of cocoa include Trinitario from Trinidad, which is said to be a hybrid between Criollo and Forastero with highly variable pod characters. Another variety is the Amelinado, a Forastero type bean with a melon shaped pod cultivated in West Africa. Then the last type is the Amazon, a relatively new type collected from the Amazon forest, which has got vigor and high yield. Central Plantation Crop Research Institute of India, Kasaragod, has recommended some selections introduced from Nigeria, namely NC 45/53 and from Malaya, namely 1-21, 11-11, 2-18, 2-67, 3-5 and 3-101 for commercial cultivation, since they are high yielding and have beans weighing more than 1 gram. Now we will see the propagation method. Cocoa can be propagated from seeds or vegetatively from buds and cuttings. Seed pods may be collected from trees yielding 82 or more pods per year with pod weighing 350 to 400 gram. Fresh beans from such pods should be used for sowing, as cocoa seeds lose their viability soon after they are taken out of the pods. Before sowing, the seeds are rubbed with dry sand or wood ash to remove the mucilage. The beans are planted with their pointed end upwards, either in plastic bags, the size is about 25 into 50 centimeter, or in raised beds. If sown in beds, young seedlings are usually transplanted into polythene bags after about 2 weeks of germination. The seedlings are ready for transplantation to the field after about 3 to 4 months, or they attain a height of 30 centimeter. As the seedling progenies show wide variability, to maintain true to types, asexual or vegetative propagation is followed. Grafting and budding are being followed in multiplication of cocoa. It also ensures multiplication of identified high yielding clones in large quantities. Though vegetative propagation of cocoa by budding, rooting of cuttings and grafting are feasible, the widely accepted method in India are budding and grafting. Now we will see the planting and cropping system. Cocoa requires shade when young and also to a lesser extent when grown up. Young cocoa plants grow best with 50% full sunlight. Therefore, it is planted in arecanut and coconut gardens or as a pure plantation in forest land by thinning and regulating the shade suitably. It is planted at a distance of 2.5 into 3 meter both between and within rows, either in the beginning of the monsoon in May, June, or at the end of southwest monsoon in September. When seedlings are used for planting, select vigorous and healthy seedlings from polyclonal garden. The planting material should be 4 to 6 months old seedling or grafted or budded plant. The seedling or grafted or budded plant should be planted in the center of the pit, not too deep. While planting grafts, polythene strip tied over the graft joint should be removed and joint should be above the soil. In the arecanut gardens, where the spacing is 2.7 into 2.7 meter, cocoa is interplanted in alternate rows at a spacing of 5.4 into 2.7 meter. In the coconut gardens, it can be planted at a spacing of 2.7 meter on either way in a single row or in 2 rows at a spacing of 2.7 meter within the row and 2.5 meter between the rows. Now we will see the training and pruning requirement in cocoa. Cocoa trees should be pruned regularly to develop good shape. Cocoa grows in a series of stories. The chupon or the vertical growth of the seedlings terminates at the jar cut. that is the point where 4 or 5 fan branches develop. Further, chupon develops just below the jarcut and continues its vertical growth till another jarcut forms and so on. When the first jarcut develops at a height of about 1.5 meter, the canopy will form at a height convenient for harvesting and other operations. Hence, all the fan branches arising from the main step are nipped off up to a height of about 1 to 1.5 meter or cut in the initial years of their growth. It is desirable to limit the height of the tree at that level by periodical removal of chupon growth. A second jarcut may be allowed to develop if the first one formed was very close to the ground. Generally, 3 to 5 fan branches are developed at each jarcut. When more fan branches develop, 1 or 2 weaker ones may be removed. The branches badly affected by pests and diseases also should be removed. Now, we will see the water, nutrient and weed management in cocoa. An annual application of 100 grams of nitrogen, 40 gram of phosphorus and 140 gram of potash per tree per year in 2 split doses is generally recommended. During the first year of planting, the plants may be given 1/3 of the recommended dose, while in the second and third year and above 2/3 and full dose of fertilizers may be given from the third year onwards. The fertilizer should be applied around the base of the tree up to a radius of 75 centimeter and incorporated properly into the soil. In respect of irrigation, cocoa plants require continuous supply of moisture for optimum growth and yield. During summer, the plants will have to be irrigated at weekly intervals. If adequate water supply is not ensured in summer months, the yield will be reduced, and under mixed cropping system, if there is a severe drought, the yield of both the crops may be affected. Now, we will see the important disorders faced in cocoa production. Many pests and diseases are known to infect cocoa and cause economic loss. The most important pest is the mealybug, and the symptoms includes adult and young ones suck the tender shoots, cushions, flowers, cherry leaves and pods. To control them, spot application of monochrotophos 125 ml in 100 liters of water is just enough. Then second important pest is the stem borer, Zeuxeria coffeea. Here the caterpillars bore into the stem, branches and trunk. Control measure involves prune and destroy the affected branches, apply BHT paste on the infected area. Then third one is the aphids. The adults and nymphs feed on the young leaves, succulent stems, flowers and small cherry leaves. To control them, spray dimethoate 1.5 ml in 1 liter of water. Then hairy caterpillar, they cause serious leaf damage on seedlings and young trees. To control them, foliar spray of acephate at the rate of 2 gram per liter of water is recommended. The rodents, which includes rats and squirrels, are also of serious concern. They usually damage the pods. To control them, keep 10 gram of bromelain, that is 0.005% wax cakes on the branches for rats. Keep mechanical traps for squirrels. In respect of the disease, the black pod disease caused by Phytophthora palmivora is a serious disease. The symptoms remain like this: the pods turn chocolate brown to black in color, beans are discolored. And to control them, remove the infected pods at frequent interval. We have to spray 1% Bodo mixture during monsoon twice at 40 days interval. The canker disease, it is also caused by Phytophthora palmivora. The symptoms includes brownish water soaked lesions on the outer bark, which then turn into rusty deposits. To control this, infected tissue should be removed and applied with Bodo paste in that affected area. Then next one is the cherry leaf wilt. It is a physiological disorder wherein shriveling and mummifying of some young fruit is often noticed, which is a common phenomenon in all cocoa gardens. In the early stages, the fruits lose their luster, and in 4 to 7 days the fruits shrivel. The fruits may wilt but do not upsize. Many factors are involved in the causation of this malady. Most important factors are the insects, fungi, nutrient competition, overproduction, etc. Hence, the remedial measures will depend upon the nature of the causative factors involved. Now, we will see the maturity indices and harvest pattern in cocoa. Cocoa flowers from the second year of planting, and the pods take about 140 to 160 days to mature and ripen. A tree begins to bear when it is 4 to 5 years old. A mature tree may have 6,000 flowers in a year, yet only 20 pods. About 1200 seeds or 40 pods are required to produce 1 kg of cocoa paste. Each pod will have 25 to 45 beans embedded in a whitish pulp, that is the mucilage. Generally, cocoa gives two main crops in a year, that is September, January, and second crop is during April, June. Off-season crop may be also seen almost all through the year, especially under irrigated conditions. Harvesting of cocoa consists of plucking the ripe pods from the trees, breaking them open, extracting the seeds from the pods, allowing them to ferment and setting them out to dry, preferably in the open air and in sunshine. The dried seeds are bagged and brought to market as cocoa beans. On some large plantations, this natural drying process may be assisted or even totally replaced by the use of artificial heat. When the cocoa is dried artificially, however, without the proper aeration, the acetic acid present in the beans does not have the chance to escape fully, rendering them more acidic and thus less acceptable. Only ripe pods have to be harvested without damaging the flower cushion at regular intervals of 10 to 15 days. The pods are harvested by cutting the stalk with the help of a knife. The harvested pods should be kept for a minimum period of 2 to 3 days before opening for fermentation. For breaking the pods crosswise, wooden billets may be used and the placenta should be removed together with the husk and the beans and corrected for fermentation. A pod will have about 30 to 45 seeds covered with pulp or the mucilage. Then post-harvest management we will see now. So, how to process the pod? The pods are heaped together and kept under shade for 5 to 6 days to ensure uniform ripening. This reduces acidity and helps in development of a better flavor suited for chocolate making. Cocoa pods are collected at a central location where pods are broken, husks removed and the white yellowish seed masses are heaped together for fermentation. Fermentation takes about 5 to 7 days depending on the season and temperature. Farmers sometimes mix the heap on the second or third day to allow for aeration and a more uniform fermentation. For breaking the pod, wooden billets may be used. After breaking the pods crosswise, the placenta should be removed together with husk and the beans are collected for fermentation. On an average, 10 to 12 pods give 1 kg of wet beans and 3 kg of wet beans. That is, from 30 to 36 pods give 1 kg of fermented and dried beans. Under normal cultivation practices, each cocoa tree yields about 1 to 2 kg annually. Next process is the fermentation. The beans should be fermented to develop chocolate flavor, reduce bitterness and lose its viability, remove the mucilage coating and enable the cotyledons to expand. Fermentation is done immediately after collecting the beans from the pods. There are two popular methods of fermenting using either tray or box method. First we will see the box method. In this traditional method, boxes of various shapes and sizes are used. The smallest one has measurement of 60 cm into 60 cm and will hold about 150 kg of wet beans. The bottom of the box has a number of holes of 1 cm diameter spaced at about 10 cm apart. 3 such boxes are arranged in a row, so these beans can be transferred from one box to the other. Beans are placed in the topmost and covered with banana leaves or gunny bags. After 2 days, the beans should be uncovered and transferred into the second box, then to the third box after another 2 days. On the 6th day, fermentation is completed and the beans can be taken out for drying. In the case of tray method, it is used only for fermenting Forastero cocoa beans. The normal size of the tray is 90 into 60 centimeter into 12 centimeter with a capacity to hold about 40 kg of wet beans. The bottom of the tray is either slotted or drilled to make 1 centimeter holes on a 4 centimeter square pattern. A minimum of 4 trays is needed for successful fermentation. All the trays are filled with the beans. The topmost tray is covered with banana leaves or sacks. The fermentation is faster here and is completed in about 4 to 5 days. This method is more convenient for large growers as the trays can be easily handled and no mixing is required and the period of fermentation is less. Basket method is also followed somewhere. Bamboo or can basket of suitable size having 1 or 2 layers of banana leaves at bottom to drain the sweating is filled with beans and the surface is covered with banana leaves. After 1 day, the basket is covered with thick gunny sacks. The beans are mixed thoroughly on the 3rd and 5th days and covered with gunny sacks. Fermentation will be completed at the end of 6th day and the beans are withdrawn for drying. Then how to find out the end point of fermentation? Well fermented beans will be plumpy and filled with reddish brown exudates. The testa becomes loosened from the cotyledons. When cut open, the cotyledons will have a brownish colored mass with lots of ridges and furrows appearance in the center with a brownish ring in the periphery. When above 40% of the beans in a lot show above sign, it can be considered as properly fermented one. Next step in the processing involves drying. After the fermentation, beans can be dried by sun drying or artificial drying as the fermented cocoa beans have considerable moisture, say about 55%. Sun drying is good as it gives superior quality produce when compared to artificial drying. The fermented beans are spread in the thin layer over a bamboo mat or cement floor and dried beans is around 6 to 7% of moisture. During the monsoon period, artificial drying has to be adopted. Electric heaters can be used. The duration of artificial drying varies from 48 to 72 hours at 60 to 70 degrees C. The drying of the beans at high temperature should be avoided as it results in low quality. Slow drying is in the initial stage has given better quality beans. Well dried beans will, when shaken, should give a metallic sound. Then next step in the processing is the grading and storage. The flat, slaty, shriveled, broken and other extraneous materials are removed. The cleaned beans are packed fresh polythene lined, that is 150 to 200 gauge gunny bags. The bags are kept on a raised platform of wooden planks. The beans should not be stored in rooms where spices, pesticides or fertilizers are stored as they may absorb the odor from these materials. The roasted product of the dried beans is called cocoa, which are used for the manufacture of various products. When cocoa nibs are ground, the resulting product is called the cocoa liquor or mass. The fat that is pressed from the chocolate liquor is termed as cocoa butter. It is mainly used for the manufacture of chocolates, in pharmaceutical preparations and soap making. Let us now see the bean quality. Cocoa quality depends on various factors, but primarily on the cocoa variety and the post-harvest handling. Generally, fine or flavor cocoa beans are produced from Criollo or Trinitario varieties, while bulk cocoa beans